So now we move to the section about how it works, the basics, the fundamentals. What we have here, the basic components of a thesis or journal article are the things that we all have in common. We do an abstract, which basically gives you an indication of what you've covered and some of the new knowledge in it. The introduction is a roadmap for where your writing is going to go and what you're covering in that writing and how you intend to go about it and what each of the chapters do. Then we have the literature review, scanning for good material, all of the literature or listening to lectures. All of these things can fall into a literature review so that you're actually getting some information about the area that you're currently researching. You have a methodology, which is the way that you're going to go about uncovering truths, the basics of methodology. Some people do quantitative analysis, some people do qualitative analysis, some people combine it. This can cover both. Then you look at the findings. What did you find from your survey? What did you find by talking to people? What did you find by both? And you document those. Then of course you have a discussion. And the discussion looks at how your findings gel or don't gel with the literature review. How your findings compare or contrast with the literature review. What new knowledge have you found out that hasn't actually been covered by the literature review? Because research is all about new knowledge. And then of course the conclusion. Well, Gruber and Evans 2005 would tell you that a conclusion is what you've concluded from your research. It's not a summary, but also in the conclusion you might add in areas that you consider should be used for other research. Now this isn't about telling you how to do your thesis or how to write. You can discuss that with your supervisor, of course. This is just something that was fundamental that we all have in common with a structure for our writing. So we look at this, and if we had a basic chart like this that we have here, we actually use these columns where we put our references, who said what, who was the theorist. We write down and we cite these theorists in that box, but we write down what they say. And we do this by cutting and pasting into that particular box under reference and source. This is a table, it would grow. And in the next section, I'll be showing you how to do this in a practical way where I'm out of the picture and I'm actually just working on a computer to go into some details about this. We do need to indulge in critical analysis. Is this a good reference? Is it good what somebody's written about, a theorist that's written about what should be in a literature review or what a literature review is? Or a theorist about their particular methodology, where you've got an outstanding theorist about quantitative analysis. And then of course we can look for some theorists to say what they say about findings. But when we move to that last column, synthesis, that's where we look at our second column there and we say, what is good? What can we actually integrate and use for our writing? And that's what the synthesis line does. That's what the synthesis column is there for, so that we can move everything good from that second left column to actually put it in the synthesis column to use. At the end of this presentation, I'll show you another chart which has minimal detail to use as a guide for you and provide an actual demonstration. And this is very useful. We need to basically show you how to do that. And we got onto the computer with a few little mistakes there, but it's onto the computer to make sure that you can use this and see how it can benefit you. But the bottom line with this is simply this. What you need to do is you need to look at the way that we're going about this and probably improve it. It's a basic chart to make you compile and retrieve your data in the subject areas that suit your type of research. Our subject areas for our research in this illustration was just the structure of a journal article or a thesis, a basic structure, just to give an indication how we would go about it. We'll also identify added uses of the chart as well, which is very important because there's another way of using these charts, and we'll come to that very briefly. Now, when I look at critical analysis, it means carefully considering and weighing up the evidence supporting your idea that it may be very convincing. You're researching in your topic and you're looking at something that's convincing, but you've got to weigh it up. Then being able to explain why you may find that this evidence is convincing or unconvincing. Now, often we can do this with a fair bit of practice. We sort of say that's good automatically when we're getting more into our project. But at the start, there's a few little clues that we want to sort of offer. You must be discerning about whether you use certain academic literature or not. You must choose whether it's quality information that's going to add to the case that you're making, add to the quality of your writing. And you must be selective and use quality data. And to do this, you may ask yourself a few simple questions about some of the material you've already placed in your chart as you're cutting and pasting and putting it into that chart. Remember, the mouse is mightier than the pen. This is the 21st century. In this particular chart that you have, there's a new way of going about it because you're not taking notes. You're using the technology to cut and place the chunks in your chart that you want to retrieve later on for your academic writing. So try using certain questions to help you think critically to see if it is worth using the material from your reading when you're synthesising it and integrating it into your final written document. You might ask these questions. Who is the author? What is their viewpoint? Are they famous? Do they have a particular bias? Who is the audience and how does that influence the way the information is presented? Are they trying to convince their colleagues? Are they trying to convince students? Who is the audience? What is the main message of the text? Is the evidence abundant to support this main message? What research did they do so that they can present this evidence that's quite convincing? These are just a few of the questions that you may ask. And when you're writing, you're developing points and arguments through every piece of writing that you do. And it's very important that it's very good quality literature from a big scan that you're using so that you're making sure that you've got the right material to basically strengthen your whole written thesis or journal article. Everything you write must be supported by a range of sources. Your opinion needs to be supported every time. But of course, your opinion in the conclusion can come out very strongly because the conclusion is based on the research that you've done. It is what you've concluded from your research. But everything, I cannot repeat this often enough, and I repeat it to all of my students all the time. Every argument, every assertion, every fact that you say must be supported from a range of good quality academic sources that you have cited. Your real skill as a writer is your ability to show that you can integrate your ideas and use your backup evidence so that they flow in a very coherent and seamless way throughout your draft thesis or journal article. It is a specialised skill, synthesising, no doubt about it, where you're really summarising similar ideas from more than one source of information after using a level of critical analysis to see if you think it is worthy of moving from one of those columns in your chart right over to the right-hand chart and eventually into your journal article or your thesis. And you do need to balance the evidence. You need to have a range of sources when the issue is complex, and you need to weave it together as though you're weaving silk or something of that nature and integrating the information from different sources into each paragraph in the body of your thesis or your journal article draft. There are three strategies that are useful to present your evidence in your writing. These are paraphrasing, summarising and direct quoting. Let me come to direct quoting. There are times that you see the perfect quote, but you might forget without this chart where it was. You can put it in the chart and you can put it in red. You can make it in large writing so you don't lose it. Because there's a real art in academic writing or any writing to get that perfect quote, to get that perfect quotation that just says it all, and it is very skillful when you can find that and you know that it's good work and you'll put it right in the spot that you want to bring the rest of your material to life. Paraphrasing, just reducing or changing it into your words what somebody else has said, but in a briefer way, and blending by paraphrasing a few authors in this particular area and citing them, giving them the rewards for the work that they've done and making sure that you're citing it. And all of the time, summarising is a factor as well. As your research project has been set to challenge you to investigate interpret and conduct research on a topic, your academic writing needs to be a fine balance from quality sources. It's of crucial importance that you have quality sources. This particular chart and method enables you to compare and contrast what is good, what is bad, what you can discount and what have you. But also, it's in a place that you can capture and retrieve it. If you think that something is not up to the standard that you want to integrate in, just put it in yellow. Just sort of bold it all in yellow and leave it in yellow, but don't throw it away. You may change your mind later on. And of course, all of the themes that you have, those themes can change because as you investigate a little bit further with your research, the themes that you have on the left-hand side of your chart can alter. As you know, sources need to be well suited to academia. Textbooks, journal articles that are peer-reviewed preferably, renowned websites such as OECD, ILO, but of course you can discuss that with your supervisor. Your research challenges you to investigate and interpret and select quality information and data. It is extremely important that you make sure that you are integrating into your work some really well-considered academic work or work that has been done by highly qualified people that are working in the field. And you need to have a good, solid balance of evidence. But this is all about time-poor people. You need to put it into this chart, which can grow like topsy. It can grow very big, and also you can always come back and you'll know where it is. So when you've discarded that piece of paper that you photocopied, or you've lost that PDF, it's still trapped for future use in this particular chart, which saves a time-poor person like you a lot of time and also should impact on the quality of your work. That is our aim anyway.